Welcome to Say More Podcast. I am your host, Miss JJ. Thank you for joining me on this episode where I have a very, very special guest who is dancing, as you can see. He is my oldest son. He is my sunshine. Everybody, welcome Bugsy. Okay, so if anybody that knows me knows why he is that way, because that's how I am. So, welcome Bugsy to your mom's podcast. How do you feel about it?
Um, I feel like a celebrity. I'm not gonna lie to
Well, I'm glad you feel like a celebrity. Um, I am sorry, touching my screen. Oh, now it's moving. I didn't want that, but we fixed it. Okay, so you feel like a celebrity being on my podcast. Why is that?
you. Because as much as you're my mother, and I've obviously known you my entire life, I look at you in a way that's like not human. I
Mm.
guess like a deity. So I feel like honored to be somebody that you consider to do this with.
Oh, well, thank you, Bugs. Um, I love you too. So this episode, and you were very clear that while wanting to be on the episode, didn't want any prompts. You didn't want to know like what we were going to talk about.
Mhm.
You wanted to kind of come off the dome, and I thought that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
really all right. Easy
Word
kill.
them up. Word them up.
And for me, that was important. Um, as much as I wanted to give you prompts and kind of say, "Here's what we're talking about," I respected the fact that you didn't want that.
Mhm.
So, the title of today's episode is Parenting One Size Doesn't Fit All.
For sure.
So, around that, really wanted to talk about a few things. Um, of course, you and I been rocking for almost 30 years now.
Forever,
Forever, ever. So, um, and I wanted to give my audience a little bit of a view into that, right?
right.
Because I tell everybody I am a married woman. I've been married for almost 18 years. I have three beautiful sons. I have my husband, but it really started with me and you, right?
Mhm.
Like I was a single mom, and before I met hubby, um, you were the man in my life, right? And
Mhm.
so I wanted to talk about in this episode our journey from being just us two to a party of five, right?
Okay.
And like your viewpoint and vantage point, because you really did traverse this journey with me. It
Mhm.
wasn't um you didn't you had a ringside seat to it, and I
Mhm.
really wanted to get your perspective on the points that I want to make around while I am all of your mom, I think all of you had a different version of me as your mother,
100%.
right? So I wanted to talk about like the early years between you and I.
Mhm.
Um, so we're Brooklyn born and bred, raised, all the things. And I want to talk about your experience of me from 0 to 10 as far as being your parent, your words, not mine, of like what it was to have me as a mom. Like, because I know in my head how I feel I am and
Mhm.
was and will continue to be as a mom, but obviously all three of you will have very different experiences of that. And at some
Mhm.
point, I will talk to your younger brothers about their experiences of me, but also of us and
Mhm.
us in totality. So, like, me being your mom, like, what has that experience been like for you?
Oof.
Not oof.
And not even like oof in a bad way. I just know I'm really emotional,
Hmm.
and like it's start.
It's
Like,
okay. It's okay. You can be emotional. And I think
um,
that's what I want people to see about you, because I think there's a part of you that people don't get to see authentically like I do, the emotional part. You're an empath, you're very empathetic, you're very independent, which it feels like those two things don't align. however they do it.
Very, yeah,
So,
that's how it feels in my head. So 100%.
but yeah, so yeah, your experience of me as a mom.
Okay. Before I answer your question, I'm gonna
Sure.
get like a tissue or something. So
Sure. Get your tissue. This is where we pause so Bugsy can get his tissue. Get a couple because I don't want you to have to run back. But I hope you all get to see the beautiful soul that is my son because he really taught me how to love something outside of myself. Uh-oh, he's coming back. I can't let him hear what I said. But yeah, he taught me how to love outside of myself, and watching my children is like watching your heart beating outside of your chest. And so it is something that while the pay for being a parent sucks, the job is one of a kind and it is super fulfilling. So all right, Bugs, give him your breakdown as with JJ, Miss JJ
um,
as your mom.
in summary,
Mm.
there's there's not much I would change. Like, and my view of you is the closest to perfection as humanly possible to me.
Mm.
Um,
Thank you.
like we've obviously had disagreements growing up, and we have not always been on the same page. But like when I tell people about like how I view you, I don't even. It's like it's so insignificant to me because I'm so happy that I was blessed to be a child. Like I don't have much qualms or quarrels. Like I truly feel that you're my best friend.
Yeah, you
And
say that all the time, and I tell people, I'm like, everybody, Bugsy always tell people I'm his best friend, and it's like, um, it's, I'm so honored for you to say that, and I'm like, sometimes it's super heavy because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like how can I, how can, I mean, it's almost harder to be your best friend than to be your mom, like
yeah,
the
I see
mom
what you're
part,
saying because you
you know what I mean?
expect certain like
Yes,
you expect a like a parent or somebody like of authority to not understand you in certain ways or this and the fourth. But I feel like a best friend connection is like we always on the same time, and so when
yeah,
I feel like maybe you can't, when you feel like maybe we're not, it bothers you a little bit.
yeah, and I mean, I think as you've matured, the relationship, you're always going to be my little boy, as you and your brothers will always be my little boys, but all of you are maturing, right? Like your brother is, exploring college right now and doing all of those things. And, the youngest, he'll be 13 at the end of the year. So, like, oh my gosh, these are not babies anymore. So, and especially in your instance, parenting an adult child is very different than parenting a minor child, right?
100%.
It's a lot more suggestion and a lot more hoping that the foundation that you've laid,
Mm-hmm.
that all of the things that you've taught them, they
Are
now get to
effective.
exercise. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
get to exercise. But like, like I said, I was a single mom. We lived in Brooklyn, we lived in Atlanta, we lived back home in Brooklyn. Like, did you ever feel, and I think this is probably an early time to ask this question, but I think we'll explore it throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you ever feel as though because the other parent wasn't involved, did you ever feel like you were lacking something or missing something? And please know that whatever you say, it doesn't hurt my feelings or
Mm-hmm.
what have you. Because I think people need to have these conversations and
Mm-hmm.
explore things, right? Like people want to romanticize certain aspects of their life and
Mm-hmm.
have revisionist history of how they did things with their
100% without
children. And I'm
seeking
just
the other side of it.
right. And I just want to make sure that you have an open space to kind of say what's on your heart
Mm-hmm.
and we can explore that and for the audience as well as for us. So like, did you ever feel as though you were lacking or missing anything in the 10 plus years that it was just me and you.
So to answer your question, um, when I was growing up, no, I had
Mhm.
no inkling of not feeling like complete or like I'm missing something. You're my everything. Like,
And
and that's always been
you had a
it's been
great
enough.
grandmother. You had
And
an
that
amazing
too.
grandma.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't ever feel like I was missing everything. I was always nurtured. I guess more than I deserved sometimes. Like, um, and so to answer your question, I did not even think that there was parts of me that weren't developed or nurtured or until I got into until I became an adult because it's I think I have certain issues with like identity like regarding how to be a man in the nuclear sense, like in the nuclear family sense, like to be a provider, to like because I'm so emotional,
Mhm.
it's debilitating sometimes,
Mhm.
and I I felt like I've been blessed to always be put in a situation that my feelings matter.
Mhm.
However, it's just not always effective. Like your feelings do get in the way of progress sometimes,
That's
like or
fair.
doing what you need to do for yourself. Like, and I feel like I didn't have the get over it. Like you gotta face that. You feel me? And for lack of a better phrasing, obviously you don't tell that to a kid, but
Yeah.
for lack of a better phrasing, like you gotta eat that gang and just sturdy up and figure out how to maneuver that without just being like, oh my god, this is so overwhelming and like fending for myself is not my greatest strong suit because
Mhm.
I never had to do it. And even in my life outside of obviously you being my parent, same thing. I don't have to fend for myself. People see who I am as a person and they gravitate towards me and I gravitate towards them, and it's just like I'm always in a space where how I feel is valid.
Yeah.
And like I said, sometimes that it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I tell people all the time growing up in a West Indian household, um, there's so many things about being Caribbean that I'm super proud of. I know that you super proud of. We
Mm-hmm.
both have, you have the Barbados flag on you. I have the trident on my neck. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love being Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also things about the culture or that I experienced in our culture that I knew I wasn't going to bring forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, i.e., I love grandma. Grandma was an amazing mom, and if I could be half the mother she was, I was great. However, grandma didn't listen well, right? And
100%.
so like I wanted to improve on that in that I'm going to curse, I'm going to yell, I'm going to do all the things, but I'm going to
You're
listen
gonna
to
hear
you.
me out. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hear you out,
And I
right?
did. I have always felt heard out.
Yeah.
100%.
And so that part for me was important because young black men, and I'm raising a young black boy, are always told to suck up their emotions to your point and like eat it and just whatever. And I wanted you to be able to express your emotions and not feel like you're weak or looked
Mm-hmm.
upon as less than,
Mm-hmm.
but also sometimes look to harness those emotions and have it fuel you to
And
do
create
whatever
the
it is.
change to be the
Right.
catalyst for change. Right.
Yeah. So it was necessary for me to not only make sure to nurture that in you, but also make sure that you took that out into the world. Like as a
Mm-hmm.
parent, your greatest accomplishment is how your kids show up in the world, right? And so for me, I remember grandma. I was a few months pregnant with you, and I remember grandma asking me, sitting on the bottom of the stairs, she was just like, "You think you could be a single parent?" And I was just like, where'd that come like, what? And grandma used to just say some wild stuff. You'd be like,
Random out of
lady,
nowhere.
out of nowhere. I'd be like, lady, what are we talking about? And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Why? And she's like, no, I just asked. And it was so funny because looking back on it multiple times, you know, people that have lived some life know a little bit of something, right? And I
Hmm.
don't know why she saw what she saw
Hmm. But she
and
saw
why
it.
but she saw it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I had to really kind of,
Hmm.
okay, take that in.
Hmm.
Because at 23 it's like, I know what I'm doing, I'm a woman,
Hmm.
whatever, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
help me.
Hmm.
Like, I was like, help me. But she used to make fun of me and be like, why you look at him like that? I'm like, do you understand, like, I just made this kid, I don't even know what to do. She was like, you know exactly what to do.
Hmm.
And so, like, having to become a single parent, and I had guilt about, this is not what I saw, not only for you, but for
For
myself.
yourself. Hmm.
And okay, while it not perfect, let's make it work.
Yeah, let's make it
And
the best version
let's
of it.
make it the best situation it could be.
Hmm.
And then realizing that that wasn't an option.
Hmm.
Okay, now I really just, it's really me and Bugsy against the world, right?
Hmm.
And so for me, I to this day I still be like, well, did I do enough? Maybe I overcompensated because you didn't have the other parent,
Hmm.
all of the things. And then a lot of the guilt really came for me when I met Hugh, because, and not even so much met him, but like as we transitioned into being engaged and being married. And but I don't know if you remember that when Hugh and I decided to get married, like I had a conversation with you and I was just like, do you remember us having a conversation?
I mean, I remember it because I'm mentally ill. I wouldn't remember it without
Hmm.
this, but I
Hmm.
remember us having a conversation and me saying, "If you're happy, I'm happy."
Yes. And um I was just like, I ain't never been married before. Like I was just
Hmm.
like, yo, this is super new. And like nothing changes between you and I, because at this point you were 12, about to be 13, and Hugh had been around for like almost 2 years. And so it
Hmm.
was just like, okay, I don't know how to have relationship with this man if my child wasn't considered.
Hmm.
Like I don't love anything more than I love him. And I'm like, and the love, and I remember saying to you, like, the love that I have for you and the love that I have for Hugh are vastly different.
100%.
Right. And so wanting you to not feel as though, I wanted to reassure you that nothing is changing
Hmm.
with regard to you and I. We've just now added a component. And I
Hmm.
remember a lot of times, like, Hugh would come and pick you up and we would go for the weekend, and then y'all would go do stuff and you'd be like, mommy, you can't go because we're doing man
Man
things.
stuff. Hmm.
And I used to be like, oh, okay then.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, watching that be a genuine bond. And then even fast forward really quickly, like I talked to you like 2 months ago and you were saying something. He's like, yeah, because when me and he was talking, I was like, what y'all was talking about? He was like, yes, I was talking to him about X, Y, and Z or whatever. And I was just laughing because it really just brought me back to when you was like 10 years old. It was like, we doing man stuff. There
Hmm.
are things, or there's nothing that you don't feel, or at least I don't believe you feel uh afraid to share with me. However, knowing that you have Hugh to have a conversation with always makes me feel good.
Hmm.
And for you, it's not easy for you to just open up to every and anybody.
Hmm.
And I mean, he's not anybody, but at
Hmm.
the same time, you have this other parental figure, other person in in your mother's life, in your life, in the family's life that you could have a conversation with. You know what I mean? And so like for me, that was like I said, when we first started dating, I was like, okay, we dating, who knows where it's gonna go. But then like when we got serious, it's like, okay, we really need to make sure
We on the same
I
page.
need to make sure that we need to understand each other. And then I think what I would ask is, what were your feelings when I know how you felt when we first started dating, but like how did it feel once we transitioned into getting married and then having a sibling? Because you always wanted a sibling. And I was like, well, mommy ain't just going out here having babies. And I finally did have a son and you were over the moon. So like tell us, tell the audience and tell me like that transition from like me dating Hugh to us getting married and then Jordan.
I would say that the transition, my perspective of the transition was difficult to a certain extent, but not difficult in a way that it's like not difficult in a way that I couldn't maneuver. Obviously, I had feelings about certain things, but I didn't all the way understand them because I just didn't. Like I don't know. I just didn't. I can't really explain that, but there's certain feelings that I had about things that I just didn't understand. But I think
Can you say more about what you didn't understand?
so I think I don't know. Like I feel like maybe sometimes there was like a certain tone from me. Not that you created this,
Mm-hmm.
just something that I felt. But I think that sometimes I felt jealous, or not necessarily like not ever put to the side because, like I said, I know, and you've exemplified throughout my whole life that I'm very important and was the most important thing. Now you have other kids, and not say that like, we're all the most important thing, but
Mm-hmm.
like I think that has a lot. Like I don't know, maybe jealousy and just I don't know. Sometimes I thought like, why couldn't this just happen for me? I guess like in terms of
Mm-hmm.
you having a child and being with being with the child's father, like.
Yeah.
I was just like, like what was, and I wouldn't even say the question is why didn't this happen to me? It's more so like what were the things that caused it not to work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, like I wouldn't say I pushed those feelings to the side, but I didn't have the mental, I wasn't mentally, I didn't have the mental capacity to go through it at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of the clarity and understandings that I have about certain situations in my childhood are because I cannot help but to play things on repeat. Um, but yeah, like I just did not have the mental or emotional and mental capacity to understand what my discrepancy was. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I do think that in general, it wasn't very difficult to me. I think that um, in my opinion, I think that our relationship was a lot better. Me and Hugh, I think that our relationship was a lot better when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe that's something I should talk to him about. But I think that to a certain extent, at certain points in me and Hugh's dynamic, Hugh and I's dynamic, like he also never had a kid, and
Right.
I'm not an easy person to deal with.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of but there's a certain level of um, disagreement or maybe misunderstanding that was never, like we never confronted it.
Yeah. Never discussed it and worked through it.
Um, and but other than that, like it really was not hard for me at all. Like I think that he is a great parent. I think that, um, and I think that he's a great parent. And I think that he supports you well because, quite simply, you're a Sagittarius woman, and if you were not dealt with in the way that you wanted to be for a long enough time, it wouldn't be what it is.
Right.
So, um, the evidence states that
Not the
like
evidence.
he's good. He's there, and you feel me, and you confirm it. So it's not like I'm speculating this, and it's just like you always say, like he tries to his best to be the fullest version of a father and a husband, and this and the forth is the case.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the other than those like misunderstandings that we've had, I don't. It wasn't hard at all for me to watch you get married or watch you have like Jordan and Austin or anything like that because it's truly um, what I wanted. Like, I think I watched you be unhappy for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when you asked me what you asked me, I said it don't matter. What it doesn't matter. Like, I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
And I guess I didn't think about it from the sense of a parent, like
Of
how
course.
much my weight actually did matter.
Mm-hmm.
But even at that age, I felt like it wasn't about me
Mm.
because it's not.
Yeah.
I'm
Well.
I'm your child.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's just gonna be points in your life that are just not dictated by our relationship.
Yeah, and I think that's fair from your perspective, and I appreciate your honesty about that because I remember when you said that you was like, "Mommy, as long as you happy, I'm happy."
Mm-hmm.
I also remember I was giving someone a joke about this the other day. I said Bugsy is who told Mommy about Hugh before I told Mommy about
Mm-hmm.
Hugh, and it was like, "Mom, Grandma, Mommy got this boyfriend, and he's from St. Croix," and she was like, "He from
Mm-hmm.
where?" And of course, knowing the story, my parents both are from Barbados but met in St.
Met in
Croix.
St. Croix.
So for me to be in a relationship and then marry a Crucian man was like, you couldn't even write
Full
that if you
circle,
wanted
yeah.
to. Yeah, you couldn't really write that if you wanted to. But with regard to me, you, up until having to now splinter the way I describe it, maybe others won't describe it this way,
Mm-hmm.
but my whole life was dedicated to you and making sure that I was giving you all that I can give and then some, right? And then now I had to navigate being in relationship with someone,
Mm-hmm.
but not having that affect the relationship that you and I had. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that it had to because you hadn't seen me in this type, like I've had a guy or two, but there wasn't anybody other than Daddy B. There was
Mm-hmm.
nobody in
That was
our
that
lives.
significant.
Correct. And Daddy B was years before this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when the only and those were in your we're talking about from 18 months to maybe 3 or 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that it was just you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think what I really appreciated about Hugh with you, him being part of a single parent household,
Mm-hmm.
him not trying to be like, "Hey, little guy, let's be." It wasn't. At least that's it. Didn't how it appeared to me,
To you. Mm-hmm.
right? And like he would go and get you, and then come pick me up, and we would go do whatever. Like it just felt
Organic.
organic, right? And so, but I had to navigate now what you may be feeling and or seeing or perceiving
Mm-hmm.
with actuality, and then saying to him, to your point, and he and I have had many a conversations prior to having our own children around, you don't have any children, so for you to tell me
Yeah, it's
what
gonna
you
be
would
hard. It's
do,
a hard adjustment to make.
it is. And then but also equally as difficult is we are both now about to be married, and
Mm-hmm.
neither of us have been married.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to craft this life according to the Jameses, not according to the Johnsons or the Peters or the whoever, and make our family
The
unit
way
what
you
we
see it.
wanted correct. So there were a lot of conversations about that. I remember telling y'all, I was pregnant and having a baby, and you jumping around the kitchen like, finally, I'm having a
Mm-hmm.
sibling. And I was cracking up. And of course, grandma, because she had a sixth sense about this, I know so. And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
what?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just say congratulations? Like,
Right. It had to
as,
be a premonition.
yes, definitely was a premonition. All of that to say, I remember having Jordan and being so overwhelmed because it
Mm.
was like I knew how to be a parent. I'm learning how to be a wife, mother, and all of these things. I hadn't yet done all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And like where, as much as you were enamored and in love with Jordan and wanted to, still the best person to change diapers ever. Like
Mm-hmm.
none of y'all ain't ever had a 13-year-old kid that could change Pampers like Bugsy. He was my in-house babysitter. He took care of Jordan amazingly. But like I said, as much as you were enamored or whatever, just making sure that I was still feeding you what you needed
Mm-hmm.
while taking care of this infant, while being a wife to this man, like, now being this trio,
Mm-hmm.
what that looks like for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now bringing this fourth person on, now we're a quad.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a trio for a little bit, and then quickly the quad came into play. So
Mm-hmm.
just wanting to make sure, even to my own detriment, that everybody was good
Mm-hmm.
was kind of what I was doing, like just making
Mm-hmm.
sure everybody was good. And I remember going to therapy about it and saying, like, I never did none of this before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a lot,
It's difficult.
and it's difficult, and not because you don't know what you need to do or whatever, like trying to manage it all at the same time, it just was a challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
so understanding how you were feeling at that time was super important for this conversation, because again, back to parenting, one size doesn't fit all. You had a version, and you taught me like loving something more than yourself. Like I tell people, people always, or people I've heard people say to others, well, you should at least have one child. And I'm like, okay, like it's not buying gum, it's not
Mm-hmm.
trying sushi. Like you should do it
Yeah.
once. Like
Just
what are we
yeah.
doing? Like
Just
what are we
trying to
doing?
have a kid,
Yeah,
bro.
just try and see what it is. Like you can't give it back. Like you can't, like what are we doing?
Yeah.
But I didn't know, and I remember saying to mommy one time, like, how do you love more than one child?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm looking at this kid like I'm kind of done. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't need any more kids because I don't know if my heart can take it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's just so much emotional
oh my
labor and
gosh, if he
harder to.
cry, I'm hurting. I don't want my baby to hurt. I don't. So then, like I said, becoming the trio and then quickly becoming a quad, overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And so living in that state of overwhelm, going to therapy, really figuring out like you don't have to do everything all at the same time.
And you don't got
And
to be perfect.
you don't, and the crazier part about that, Bugs, is it wasn't even about me wanting to be perfect. It was really about the overwhelm of doing all of the things. And I think as
Mm-hmm.
women are kind of indoctrinated to just, this is the business of being busy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you decide to lay down longer than 8 o'clock on a Saturday, it's like, well, what are you doing sleeping? Why are you not doing this? And the laundry. And it's just like, you got to give yourself a little grace. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
You're nursing this one. This one is in middle school. I don't know the math. So I'm like, talk to Hugh
Mm-hmm.
about the you're just trying to navigate all of these different pockets of your life, and
You
it
got
can
to
be
be different versions of yourself to.
100% to navigate the day.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't even talking about a year, we talking about moment to moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's what was going on then. Really just trying to understand who we are, who you are, and living with, for a number of years, living with that guilt. So when you said being jealous earlier, it was really poignant because that was what my guilt was. He didn't have this. And this young man, this little baby that's born is, for all intensive purposes right now, he's going to have that. And now Bugsy has to watch this happen and be like, why not me? So when you just spoke about
And confirmed it.
and confirmed, like, I don't know why. I tell people all the time, and sometimes I don't know why I know the things I know or feel the things I feel. I just know them. And really trying to make sure that you understood it wasn't you. And I don't think you ever felt that, but it was always like my job in my head to make sure
To
that
make
you
sure that I
knew
never even thought that.
that was
And
not
you
even
did
a
it. You
thought.
did it very well as reassurance for you. Like I tell people all the time that like I don't. The things that they share about what they went through and stuff like that, I'm like,
Mm,
nah, I don't share that same sentiment. My mother has shielded me from maybe too much things sometimes,
maybe.
but
Yeah, agreed.
like I don't share that. I don't share that experience with you again. Like,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and like I did my best to not speak ill of your other parent because at the end of the day, they are still your parent. Now, my experience with them was my experience. Unfortunately, you had to see some of that. And I was like, to your point just now, maybe I shielded you from too much, but we all didn't need to be hurt in
yeah,
that way.
one
You know
hundred
what I
percent.
mean? And I was just like, let me just shield you from that. And we are now, and you said something just now, and I want you to say more a little about it with regard to, you think our relationship when you were younger is better was better then. Do you think our relationship is not
No, I
good
said
now?
with you.
Oh, with Hugh. Okay, sorry, misunderstood.
As of now, and just to be clear, because you thought that's what I said,
Hmm.
um, with our relationship to me right now is definitely as perfect as it can be, in my opinion. I feel like when I speak to you, I feel like you regard me as an adult,
Hmm.
and you also see me as your child,
Yeah.
and that's
Boy,
kind of
sit
really
down.
all. That's really all I can ask for.
Hmm.
I'm sorry because I'm plugging in my computer. I apologize.
Yeah.
Um, but that's literally all I can ask for because, um, me mentally ill. I'm strongly, I strongly believe that I'm autistic. So with that being said, the way that you view me is kind of how the like the perfect way I want to be seen. Like how you view me is how I want to be seen. I want you to respect my thoughts and my opinions and uh how I may feel based off of the experiences that I have that you're not there for because I'm an adult now. Like you're not
Uh-oh.
present for everything that
You
happens in my
froze.
life because
Hold on. You froze a little bit. Say that again.
oh, I was saying that regarding like I think that it's you see me the way that I want to be seen in the aspect of I'm an adult
Hmm.
and you respect my thoughts and my opinions and my thought processes based off things that I've experienced that you're not there for.
Hmm.
Because I'm an adult at certain points in my life, everything that I experienced, you experienced.
Hmm.
Or, and it's like I've just come to the point, obviously, I've come to a point in my life where I'm independent, I'm a grown adult, and there's just things that may shift my perspective or things that I think about that you just like you don't know until I bring them to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like you always respect how I may feel about any given situation. And sometimes you do the mom thing where you give me advice that I didn't ask for. But like like
You'd be like, you're doing the mom thing again. I'd be like, okay, all right. I'm like, but let's just be clear. I've been a mom for a long
forever.
time. Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't, and like I said, I don't be trying to, I don't hold that against you. I think, but I think that you see me exactly like I'm an adult to you, but I'm also always gonna be a child, and I don't want it to be any other way. Like
yeah. You'll
I'm blessed
always,
to always be a child,
yeah, like you'll always be my child, but I know that you're not a
a
child,
child.
right? And so that's really important to me now that you are really flexing in your adulthood and in your independence. And
Hmm.
again, because you've had some challenges, if you're okay with me sharing around like anxiety and depression, now
Hmm.
that you're coming through, because again, people are like, well, people work through and get over it. And I'm like, there's no real getting over. It's working through and
It's
adapting and
constant
constant
coping. It's
coping. Yeah,
constant coping and finding better outlets than the bad decisions that your mental illness would make you want to make.
correct. And I think, when we talk about mental wellness and those of us having, and all of us have had mental episodes, whether you categorize it as that,
Hmm.
up to you, because anxiety is a thing. And I mean, I've had friends that have had debilitating anxiety.
Hmm.
They don't have that level of anxiety anymore. However,
Hmm.
sometimes it creeps out like something, and unprovoked, don't know how. And like, I remember when we were working through it with you, it was just like, what are the triggers? Like, what would happen? And like, you really had to sit down and think about, sometimes
Nothing.
unprovoked,
Hmm.
nothing. And then sometimes it's like, okay, I started to feel this, or I ate this, or I was in this place and had this stimulation. And it's just to your point, that coping mechanisms of trying to figure out being somewhere different and like, okay, this is about to happen. I'm feeling it.
Hmm.
And let me make a change. You
Yeah,
know what I
what's
mean?
gonna work for me,
What's going to
and
work
da
for
da da.
me? Exactly. So, yeah, so now like watching you kind of continuing to work through that, making better decisions. And audience, I want you to understand, like, we're not talking about life-threatening decisions or just decisions that were the wrong ones for him,
Hmm.
right? And understanding that in this space, as we say more about these things, we are not in a space of judgment. We really on like, find what works for you, whether it's therapy, whether it's meditation, whether mental wellness is important
Hmm.
because, you know, I think people hear mental illness and immediately go to the worst case
Yeah,
scenarios.
think you got to be in a straight jacket, like,
And
and it's
like skits.
crazy. Sidebar, y'all people that think like that, y'all got the mental illness, and it's called narcissism. Look it up.
But it's
Like,
like, I don't want, the world that we live in now is super polarized, the finger pointing, the labeling. And it's like, if you're challenged with something, seek out the help, right?
hmm.
And I'm happy, if you guys reach out and send me an email to say more podcast at outlook.com. I'm happy to help explore resources for you,
Hmm.
because I think part of why I wanted to start this podcast and say more about a lot of things that we've been told to say less about is there is a community out there for everyone.
Hmm.
There's a community out there to help with whatever you're challenged with, or at least start you on the road to seeking the help that you're
Hmm.
desiring, right? And so I think thank you for sharing, that you had some challenges, allowing me to kind of speak on it, and then letting people know that there's some light at the end, right? Like, there are days where it feels super dark, and I get that.
Hmm.
However, let's find the resources for everyone and for anyone that needs them. Um, so thank you for sharing that bit.
My
So,
my main point, my
mhm,
main sense of expression, like what kind of has helped me lately,
mhm,
is honestly TikTok. Like I've been telling people that all the time that TikTok is my diary. Like I I'm a yapper. So for me, it gives me the space to say what I want to say and be the version of myself that nobody sees in my room out loud. And that challenges a lot of things for me because, like, I'm a heavy masker. Like, I mask very heavily. Like, I don't want people to be too worried about me. Like, I have problems, but I don't want people to feel like they're helping me to their own detriment. Um, so I mask a lot, and I don't allow myself to just. I feel the feeling, but I don't express them enough sometimes, and um, that is kind of an old thing because I've been on TikTok for a little minute now and been doing that, but I wasn't expressing them enough, and I realized that even in situations that I regarded other people, I involved other people. I'm I'm holding my feeling in, and I'm the only person that's feeling it. Like, I'm taking on the brunt of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
and the when you feel bad about something and stuff like that is when you reflect on it to try and change it. And if I'm eating the feel bad about so much situations because I'm not expressing how XYZ made me feel, then you hold no responsibility.
Yeah.
So for a while, um, that's what I was doing, and I just started to realize, like, nah, like, regardless of what I'm going to say, how I feel, and I don't know. I don't even think that me, as individualistic as I am, or as individual as I am, like, I don't even think masking fits me as a person. Like, I like. It's so strange to me. Like, I'm a enigma. I'm a between. I don't care how you feel about me, and how do you feel about me?
How
How
do
can
you
I
feel about?
adjust to make you feel comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's a battle that I go through with all the time. And, like, sometimes I reserve the right in certain situations to be like, yeah, I don't care because of XYZ. And I feel like in certain times, like, I'm made to feel that I reserve the right to my boundaries in the wrong time. Like, maybe I'm dragging it right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. Like, that'd be bothering me. But yeah, what are you gonna say?
No, I wanted you to, get your feelings out and share because again, somebody might watch and or listen and identify. So
Hmm.
I'm hoping that that helps them. But I wanted to really say again, I really appreciate you having this conversation with me because um, I think it's helpful for me to understand as I have another young man that is about to be an adult and start his, life outside of my home. And so again, learning from these, lessons to also parent him a little bit better as well. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course.
So I want to jump right back in and talk about our ever extending and expanding family. So I had Jordan, so we were this quad, and then almost 4 years later, then I had Austin.
Hmm.
And we became a family of five
Hmm.
and a party of five, as I like to say.
Hmm.
And again, now at this time, you were Jordan's age. You were 17
Hmm.
when I had Austin. And how did that feel? Like, this woman about to go back and have another baby? Was that how you felt? Or like, how did you feel?
Nah, I felt that the same way I felt about Jordan is the same way I felt about Austin. It was unexpected, so it couldn't be the exact same because I was anticipating Jordan,
Yeah.
and Austin was unexpected. But the same level of happiness and, like, the same thing. Like, I love Austin to death. I think
Yeah.
that it's just so funny to me. Jordan and Austin is me. Like, that's what I think. Like, they're both
Yeah.
at, like, angles of my personality. Like, but they're just so themselves. Like, so boom.
They're
This is what I mean to say.
much individuals. Yeah. They're
Right.
very much
Like,
individuals.
for example, my skill tree. Like, Jordan is one part of it. Austin is one part of it. But at the end of the day, Jordan is Jordan. You feel
Yes.
me? But
Yeah.
the same thing that Jordan goes through regarding like somebody he loved being his weakness,
Mm-hmm.
or stuff like that. Like
Yeah, he's very
we're the
much an
we're the
emotional and
same
empath.
person,
Yes,
like,
mm-hmm. Very
and
much
like
so.
how emotional he is and stuff like that. We're the same person, and it's like, and I think I'm less of how he is now regarding um he I think because he's still growing up, he
Mm-hmm.
he's creating his mask. I'm
Mm-hmm.
shedding mine.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think that's why I see so much, and I, as a big brother, sometimes it's hard to watch
Yeah, yeah.
because you can't do nothing.
He
That's
gotta, yeah,
his
he has
journey.
to, that's his journey. That's, you could be there for him and be supportive,
You
but
can't do nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
I could talk to him. I could tell him this and the fourth,
He's still gonna make his
and
decisions
he's
and
gonna make his own decisions.
yeah. Yeah.
That's the hardest part because it's like I don't think that what I'm saying is right or whatever the case is,
You're just
but
trying
it
to
comes
give
from a place
warning.
of your best interest.
Yeah, you're just trying to give warning like, yo, let me just tell you what's happening out here in these streets.
Um, so and it's hard to watch almost from like you and being my parent. It's almost hard to watch somebody that you think you know what's best for them, think they know what's best for themselves,
Yeah. Yeah.
and um, and it's hard to know and conceptualize that the only way that they're gonna find what's best for themselves is if they do some shit that's not best for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they go through the trial and error and actually reflect on it and this, that, and the fourth,
Absolutely.
there's no way you can
There's
improve
no other
unless you
way to
make a
learn it.
mistake.
There's no other way to learn it. It really is trial by fire.
And it's hard to watch that
Yes.
because I know what people can make you feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And it's,
sometimes when I want to say something,
mm-hmm.
but it's like once again I can't. I feel like I'm a good big brother, but I can't shield you from every situation because you won't learn
Facts.
from it.
Facts. Facts. If anything, I might be creating a crutch because you wouldn't know how to navigate
You see what I'm
these things.
saying?
Yeah. I'm not
So
going to let you, I'm
I'm
always
not
going
gonna
to
let
be
you
there and
crash,
crash and
but
burn. But yeah,
your mistakes are your mistakes, gang.
for
Your
sure.
decisions are your decisions. Your
And you
consequences
got
of
to
your
learn
own
from
actions
those.
is gonna be the catalyst to the change that you want to see within yourself.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to watch him feel the way he feels sometimes and not address it or
Yeah.
not say nothing because I know he just has to go through it. Feels like I feel guilty sometimes
Yeah. Yeah. So
for
now that
knowing better
feeling,
that like he has to go through the motions.
so now that feeling that you have, that's me every day with every decision that y'all
Hmm.
make.
I
Every
understand that.
decision that y'all make. Because it's like, again, it's not even about knowing better or thinking my decision or what advice I'm going to give you is right.
Hmm.
It's more about cautionary. Like,
Hmm.
have you thought about, are you doing this? Like, and I I've called you and be like, yo, talk to your brother, tell him about me because I'm about to black
Hmm.
out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like those kind of things where I'm just trying to give you that cautionary tale so you can make a better decision. Like you're about to make an ill-advised decision,
Hmm.
and maybe that is your journey, but it's not without us saying, take a look, maybe
Hmm.
pause,
Just paying attention to what's happening
just
around you.
be vigilant and be mindful. Every skin teeth ain't a laugh. Everybody that's your friend ain't your friend, and
Hmm.
discernment and really, this next year for me with him is really about, and even with Austin, and Austin, it's funny, like I started to say with Jordan, it's really about exercising this discernment.
Mm-hmm.
Like being confident in who you are, doing things because that's what you want to do versus everybody's doing it. And Austin, of course, is going on 13. He still has a little bit of that in him.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's been a little bit more vocal of late of like, I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I ain't doing that. Or, yeah, well, that's what they doing and I'm not doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that I want to see because if you do something and you get in trouble, I'm going to be mad at, excuse me, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be mad at you. But if you did it because that's what you wanted to do, I'm probably less mad versus that you followed company
But
and did
they
a whole bunch of
right,
foolishness.
right,
You know,
right.
so that's kind of that thing. But like you said, that feeling that you have being a big brother, that is me with the party of five. Like
One
always
hundred
looking at
percent.
everybody and being like, do you understand? Like, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I'm telling you what to do. That
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And being very nervous because the world that I grew up in and even that you grew up in is not the world that they growing up in.
Mm-hmm.
And so really being on their phone and understanding the pictures that they're sending or they're doing whatever. And it's like people like, growing up, I always heard sticks and stones. And I'm like, no, words have meaning and power and they hurt.
One hundred
So
percent.
when someone says to you, when somebody said to me back in the day, I'm ugly, okay, whatever. Now, someone will say you're ugly and get 400,000 likes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're seeing that. And now, if you were super not confident, now you really not
Yeah.
confident. And people are like, well, put down the phone. And I'm not agreeing with that. However,
There's more nuance to it.
when everything you do now is on this walking computer that you have in your possession, it's just harder. So
I'm
we
about to
got to
say the
really,
perspective of those people that are now
it's
your
just different.
peers
Yes.
matter to a
It
certain
matters
extent.
100%. The
Yeah.
same way it mattered with me, we just didn't have phones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you either invited to the cool party or you
Or
weren't, and
you
that's when
not.
you knew. And that's when you knew you wasn't in. And so it's just different mechanisms and different spaces and different times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like with, this party of five, it's that all the time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess going back to our experiences with like the expansion and the changes, like we then moved here to Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, for lack of a better phrase and a better word, different than
Mm-hmm.
it is in New York for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you tried, you gave it a good old college try, and you
Mm-hmm.
tried to live here, but you was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back up top. Like, how was that decision for you now looking back in retrospect? Like
That
at
is
the
a
time, and like,
very
what do you think about it now?
that's a very good question. I would say if I could be very honest, aside from the fact that I love you very much and you are the closest thing to perfect to me, I think that that time was very hard for me
Hmm.
mentally. And not exclusively because I had to move either. Um, I was with some shorty at the time that was not the wave too. So, so I was
Yeah.
going through that as well. And then I had to deal with not being around things that would make me feel comfortable.
Sure.
And obviously, as an adult, I do understand the value of uncomfortability.
Hmm.
But in that moment, I
Yeah.
didn't. So the uncomfortability didn't really do much for me, I
Hmm.
guess. Like,
Hmm.
if I wasn't able to reflect on it, I
Yeah.
couldn't see the value in it. I just didn't want to be there. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. No doubt.
So, um, so it was difficult for me to be there because um, I didn't have much independence, in my opinion, and as you know, that's very hard for me. Um, I felt like if I wanted to do something, I had to ask you to take me there. If I wanted to, like I
Hmm.
couldn't just hop on the train or hop on the bus and da da da. And maybe in retrospect, I could have just done that.
Hmm.
You feel me? But I'm a New Yorker.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even conceptualize that other places had buses and trains, and I damn sure wasn't gonna be the one waiting for them.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So
Yeah.
it's just like a
And New
lot
York is a very different place. Like
than
trains
everywhere
and
on the
all,
planet.
it runs 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. I can tell you how to get any place on a
I
train, a
could leave
bus, or
from my
whatever.
man's crib at 1 a.m. and get home at 2 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, like if I'm out there and I get on the bus at 10 p.m., I might as well stay outside for the rest of the night. Like,
Yeah,
and
I'm
so
screaming.
so stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's like I said, I don't feel like I have my independence and um like even with me smoking and stuff like that. Like I couldn't even go and cop weed because I didn't know where to cop weed from.
yeah.
So it's just like even the most
The accoutrements and the things that you were accustomed to,
like even the most basic like
basic.
smoking, I couldn't access that as much. And like I said, in hindsight, I mean in retrospect, that would have been valuable if I wasn't. So I don't like this. I don't want.
Yes, yeah. You were fighting against
But
it
I wasn't
versus
receptive to it at the time.
correct, correct.
So um yeah, like the lack of independence for me it took a damper on my emotional health because like I just felt like I'm just in this space against my will and there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about it. And then even though I'm in a space against my will, there's not much outlets that I can have to make this better.
And I
Or
think you made a valid point in that because you didn't want to be there, your mind was closed off to things that were possibilities. And so it was like, yeah, well,
yeah,
I
I
don't
just
want to do
wasn't
this.
receptive to it at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And that's completely fair. And I think that was, a definite turning point. Um, like you went back home, went back up top, and a piece of me was missing because you've always, even like when I lived in Atlanta, you came back home. I came back home soon after. Like you was always there. So
Right
now it
there.
was like you're an adult and I can't make you stay.
Hmm.
Um, but I wanted to make you stay. But I
Hmm.
also understood making you stay makes everybody miserable,
Hmm.
right? And whether you were actively doing that or not wasn't even the point.
Hmm.
It's palpable that you don't want to be here. You're making it known that you don't want to be here. And it's a push pull
Hmm.
tug of war
It's just
situation.
not getting nowhere.
No one is getting anywhere because
Hmm.
we're all exhausted and unhappy about it.
Hmm.
But then I think like I said, your maturation process, the boys have gotten older. Um, you of course have gotten older. I am still the same. Um, and what I love to see is the dynamic between you, Jordan, and Austin. Because when y'all are together, the giggling that happens is
Hmm.
hilarious to me.
And
But it's almost like y'all are together every day.
hmm
And so talk about like that for you and what that feels like for you now that,
easy
like
peasy. When I come home, because wherever
Mhm,
you are is my home,
mhm.
I I'm happy because I think we've had this conversation multiple times. It's just amazing to me to see Jordan and Austin's growth because, and it's not even growth from like in the aspect of they were like this and they changed this for the better. Just them developing into whatever it is
To
because
individuals, yeah.
because I was there when they couldn't speak,
Hmm.
and now we can share laughs and share jokes and music,
Hmm.
and it's just like it's it's the literally the same feeling that I got when you had Jordan for the first time. Like I love this feeling. Like I always wanted the brother family and da da da
Hmm.
da da. It feels like what I always wanted. And for me, I'm never not gonna be a kid. So so for me to watch them be kids and I guess feel comfortable in the fact that I don't have to grow up and be this rigid adult all the time. Like I could just enjoy little things with my brothers that aren't the economic state of the world right now. Like I could just I don't know. I can't really explain. It doesn't feel like I don't have when I'm with them. Sometimes it doesn't feel like I have any obligations. Like it doesn't feel like I have any responsibilities. I'm just truly in the moment and enjoying it for what it is, and I don't have that often. I don't feel a
Yeah,
lot of people don't
yeah, that's fair. A lot of people don't, and I think,
because of the world that we live in. But like that is one of the moments for me that's just truly organic, and I'm happy.
yeah, and I think it's funny because often when you come, we don't tell them that you're coming,
Mm-hmm.
and like their reactions are hilarious because they be like,
Mm-hmm.
nobody told me, and then oh, and then they, they revert into younger versions of themselves, like wanting to show you stuff and be
Uh
like,
huh.
look at this, and I'll be cracking up because I'm just like, okay, so now everybody's home, all the boys are here, and it's just funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I love that despite the age differences between you and them, there really isn't any age difference or any gap.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can talk to you about serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They can share things with you that they may not share with me.
Mm-hmm.
We, you and I have talked about things that concerned us, and we were having the same thoughts, and then had a conversation. It was like, oh, okay, so you saw this too, and like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just really good to have that type of relationship and those conversations and just watch all of you continue to flourish and become who you guys are becoming, because I just sit back and I'm like, yeah, my boys, like all of my boys there together. But yeah, the giggling be cracking me up
Mm-hmm.
because y'all really be in there cackling. I'm like, what is going on? And it's like he, the high voice and then the loudness, and y'all don't ever think that you're loud. Jordan especially. I'll be like, Jordan, the TV's on 57. Your phone is on 11 and you on 25. He'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Well, you're loud. I'm like, I'm not. And I'm always sensitive to sound.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, y'all be in there having a good old time. So I love to see it. And
You do be getting overstimulated a lot.
it's the noise is wild to me. I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, can we put this on 6?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I could hear it outside the door, I'll be like, okay, we got to do something. Um, so I want to conclude with just reflections. We've had a lot happen in the 30 years that we've been together. I've known you
Mm-hmm.
your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And the job that I think I work at the hardest, I'm not the best at, but I work at hardest, is being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And um you all give me affirmations of my impact with your actions, your words. Um and that truly brings me joy. I mean, we're embarking on Jordan going to college. He's on his way back from his first college tour. And, next year is going to be a huge year. You turn 30, he turns 18, he's off to college. Austin ends the year turning 13, and going into 26 is going to be so much going on. And I'm so thankful for all of you, just who you are, who you helped me to be. Um, I just wish mommy was here to see
To
it.
see it. She is here to see it.
because she loved y'all so much.
Hmm. So
More
does
than
she
she
ever see
loved
it?
me, I think. And you know, I just hope that she is proud of all of us and all the things that we are doing.
Hmm.
Um Part of, again, part of doing this podcast for me was just stepping out and just doing something for myself, but also
I've been telling you that. I'm
in
like, you are
doing it.
creative. You giving these people all your juice. Like you
Yeah.
gotta,
And
you know.
I'm like, I want to share that with people, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people. If I can
Hmm.
impact someone to make change, to recognize something in their lives, to appreciate those in their lives, that's my hope for this podcast. Um, Thank you so much for saying more with me.
Hmm.
This won't be the last time I ask you to say more
Hmm.
because I know you got a lot more to say.
Oh, 100%. Um, and actually, this is one of them. I truly think um, that our dynamic as mother and son will obviously only get better because I feel like you've known me my whole life and I haven't known you your whole life. There's so much of you that I like. That's why, like, sometimes I just come and I ask you these random questions, like, "Hey,
Hmm.
how was it when this was da 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 da?" Because I just want to feel connected to you in every way possible.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like I just feel like there's so much to get to know about you and
Yeah, I was a
but
person before I had you.
a whole person before I existed, you know,
Yeah.
and I consider that constantly. Um,
Hmm.
and I just, yeah, I appreciate that in my maturity that I, can teach you lessons, or we can teach each other mutual lessons. But for me, as the child, like you don't know how that makes me feel to
Hmm.
tell you something, and it's like, wow, you're right, or
Hmm.
that's a valid point, or like actually I should take that into
Hmm.
consideration, like because you gave me the tools in order to create the discernment to come to that conclusion.
Hmm.
Like there's no words to explain how that makes me feel.
Well, I'm glad that it makes you feel seen and feel validated. I appreciate and thank you for allowing me to be your mom. Um, Again, I didn't know what being a mom. I had an amazing model of a mother. Mummy's when mommy loved you, I think mommy's love language was acts of service. When she
Hmm.
loved you, she did things for you.
Hmm.
I am not unsimilar in that.
Hmm.
When I love you, I will go all out for you.
Hmm.
Um, and so, understanding, giving love, but also not being smothering. And we can all, as parents, smother a little bit. All well intended, or mostly well intended.
Hmm.
Um, but I also knew that I wanted all of you to fly and be who you are.
Hmm.
And that starts with foundation. Like my mother and father did the best that they could do with what they were given.
Hmm.
And they gave that to us. And hopefully Hugh and I have done that for y'all, where we're giving you the space to be as creative and as thinking outside
Expressive.
the box and expressive as you possibly can be. Because I think that is important. Um, we again live in a very cynical world. We live in a very polarized society now, and I miss the way I grew up, where certain things were just a little bit closer to the vest, and not everybody knew everything. There's value to that a little bit with regard
100%.
to that. You talked about like a nuclear, like that family, like everybody knows everything all the time. It's like
Hmm.
enough, enough. Um, but I also see the value in the transparency that this generation and future generations are shown, because again, with that transparency is information, and with that information you can do what you need to do and do what you want to do. So it has been my honor to be your mom, to continue to be your mom, to be your best friend, your, hopefully a confidant, and always, again, I tell you the same thing that I tell the younger ones. I'm going to yell, I'm going to cuss, I'm going to do all the things, but I'm going to listen. And I hope as I mature and become a better version of myself, that I listen more actively, not be Olivia Pope and always want to fix everything, but be more active in my listening, more active in my support. And I appreciate tons your support, not only being on this episode for the podcast, but supporting my idea of having a podcast, and just being a really great son.
Well, not to diminish that in any way, but I'm just returning the favor. You've supported everything that I've ever done my entire life. And I don't know, like, not that not that it feels like an obligation, but if it was an obligation, it would quite literally be the easiest obligation I ever had.
Well, I thank you. Well, and I also thank the audience for watching my son and I have this discussion. I hope that it helps you have a discussion, if that's something that you need to do with those in your circle, in your family unit. And family isn't just blood. It's family is those that pour into you, those that show you support, those that give you grace. This was, I think, for us, a well-needed conversation, an amazing episode. And it's probably going to be broken into two spaces, but I think an amazing discussion to be had. So thank you, Bugsy. Thank you, audience. But I also want to say, in a world that tells you to say less, this is where I encourage you all to say more. Thanks so much for joining us. Clock it.